Hi, I'm Ernie Medina with TRB, and today again I'm joined by Brendan Arbelon, one of our TRB instructors. And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about fixed mag versus featureless rifles. Now, I gotta say why this is even a conversation, as we are in the People's Republic of California, which drives this conversation to begin with. Clearly you can understand my and probably everyone else's opinion. However, to maintain compliance with the dictators, the state's laws, we have a couple options, okay? And one of the options is what they call the featureless setup for the rifle. Brendan's going to talk to you a moment about featureless, what it all is, what can you have on it, what can't you have on it. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the fixed mag configuration. So we have two general configurations, or the two most popular configurations that are out there that remain compliant. So I'll talk to you about fixed mag, he'll talk to you about featureless.
So let's start off with the featureless rifle, right? The featureless rifle is supposed to simulate one of your like older type rifles.
Hunting rifles,
shotguns, all that stuff, where you have a fixed stock. Now this looks like it's not a fixed stock, but it actually has a screw through here, right? That does exclude me from moving this back and forth, right? Adjusting based if I'm wearing a plate carrier or not. Second is that I think the biggest thing that most people see is that I do not have a regular pistol grip. This has some kind of fin on it that stops me from utilizing the firearm or putting my thumb across or shooting that way, so that, you know, I don't know, I guess to make it less stable.
You can't get your thumb around.
Yeah. And then I'm not allowed to have any vertical grip, right? You can have angle foregrip, hand stops, but this one doesn't have it. You're not supposed to have anything that's vertical on this rifle. And then lastly, you can't have a flash hider. This is a compensator because flash hider apparently hides the flash of the firearm. So therefore you can't have a flash hider. So the one benefit this has though is that you are going to be able to have at the very least a regular magazine release compared to other options in California. Other options, right? And then, yeah, that's a featureless rifle. It's pretty much, when you think about it, it is pretty much a standard rifle minus the adjustable stock and the regular vertical grip.
Why don't you talk a little bit more about what else you get to have magazine-wise?
Oh, yeah. So that's right. You could, if you wanted to, use standard capacity magazines on this rifle by penal code, right? There's no penal code stopping you from using legally owned 30-round magazine or 10-plus magazines.
That you got during Freedom Week, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah, definitely. On this rifle, right? Now, when you go to fixed mag, it's a little different story.
Yes, different story. So, in the fixed mag configuration, there, as you can see here, this pretty much looks like a standard rifle. I have a pistol grip, I have a telescopic buttstock here, and there. Okay, and I have pretty much everything that I would want to have on it. The only difference is I have a muzzle brake instead of a flash hider. Cannot have a flash hider. The thing is, I'm now allowed to have up to 2 evil features on this. And by evil features, we say things like a pistol grip, right? Or that telescopic buttstock, okay? Those are my 2 evil features on this rifle. However, in order to operate this rifle, and I'm gonna flip it over so you can see in a moment, there are a couple things that I have to do. I actually have to break the action, meaning separate the upper and the lower, because the magazine release is fixed and I cannot operate when the rifle is intact. So by hitting this button, which actually replaces your rear takedown pin, this is called a kingpin because the system that I'm demonstrating with, of course, is the AR Maglock Gen 4. So the AR Maglock Gen 4, which by far is the greatest option when it comes to the fixed mag configuration. I have this kingpin, as they call it, which is a spring-loaded takedown pin, which when I press it, it allows the upper and the lower to separate. And when I flip it over to the other side, you'll see that this separation thereby allows the magazine release to operate. When the upper and the lower are together and it's closed, you see the pin come back out, okay? And then I cannot operate the mag release. So let me flip it over so y'all can see. here. So when I hit that kingpin, again, the upper and the lower separate, and now this magazine release can go in and out and work, and this magazine can come out. Okay, when it's in and this upper and lower are closed, now this magazine release will not operate, and this magazine will not release. So it's fixed to the rifle. So this is the fixed mag configuration. Now, depending on the various types of fixed mag configurations or products out there, some like it better than others. One of the main things that I really enjoy about the AR Maglock is that you get to keep your bolt catch, which for operating and reloading and things like that, definite must and plus, as opposed to losing it. But another function of clearing stoppages or say type 3 malfunctions, this is absolutely necessary. So if I get a double feed or a bolt override and I don't have my bolt catch, then the bolt carrier group will be to the rear, either some or in whole. When that's the case, this kingpin will not release in those configurations, and then I can't get that mag out. So now, not only do I have a type 3 double feed, but then I have a bolt carrier group that's stuck and a magazine that's stuck in place. What has to happen then is I need to essentially jam that buttstock while trying to pull back that charging handle with a magazine inserted. And basically I'm having to send that bolt home on possibly a live round. Not something that I prefer to do when clearing a malfunction. So some of the benefits to having this kind of setup. But again, going back to the fixed mag setup, as you can see, by and large, the fixed mag setup allows me to keep pretty much everything that I want. The only thing, or one of the only things, but a couple things, is I cannot put a standard cap magazine in this rifle. So this one's capped at 10. Okay, can't put any more than 10 rounds. Whether I own them legally or not, the moment I put anything greater than 10 in here, it kind of nullifies this whole thing, and now this is illegal. So considerations when running fixed mag: you get to keep all the cool features, you're just now limited to 10 rounds. As far as operating goes, as a benefit, my procedures for reloading and manipulations are literally one step away from standard operation. The only step, going back to the other side, is having to hit that kingpin before I operate that mag release.
The thing about featureless rifles, right, is that pretty much since the only thing that changes in the featureless rifle is the actual manipulation of the firearm, like 90% or almost all featureless rifles will work in a sense of like you using as a defense weapon. The thing about fixed mag though, from our point of view, there's only one product that works in the fixed mag that makes this a viable defensive weapon, and that's the AR Maglock. Unfortunately, any other device that you put in a fixed magazine gun, actually, you know, let me rephrase that. If your fixed magazine gun does not have the capability to lock its bolt to the rear and release the magazine with the bolt back to the rear, then that's not a viable defensive gun, because when you do get that jam, and you will, that gun is pretty much useless.
Yeah, and to demonstrate that, so being able to take the mag out with the bolt lock to the rear. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this bolt to the rear. Okay, so now my bolt locked to the rear. Okay, I can hit this kingpin. My upper and lower still separate, actually a little bit less, but still separate, and I can still engage this mag release. So essentially I'm getting full operation of this rifle as if standard, okay, with this here, and it's still satisfying the law in that I can't hit that magazine release whether the bolt is forward or still closed but locked to the rear. It's fixed. Can't do anything. Must hit the kingpin, must separate the action.
Yeah.
So those are a couple nuances about the featureless versus fixed mag. And as always, most things boil down to preference, okay? So whichever one you prefer. I prefer the fixed mag because I really do not like to have my thumb on the same side when operating the rifle, especially being a left-handed shooter. I'm already having to do things differently. I don't want that added nonsense of having to lose the opposable thumb and that grip on that and that pistol grip to manipulate the rifle. So that's my preference. And whatever your preference is, whether you want to keep that 30-round capability, or you're okay with having the thumb on the same side, or you're okay with having the buttstock pins, it's all boils down to preference. Whatever you do, obviously train to it.
Yeah, like I said, like me and Ernie were talking when I pulled out this firearm today. I haven't touched this gun in 2 years. Just because we just don't use the fixed magazine gun, featureless gun, because the AR mag does work really good. But like I said, it is preference, but hey, if you run it, just make sure you train with it.
And it's funny because you've actually been in classes or trainings with law enforcement and things like that, where they're running standard configuration, and you're running AR maglock, and they don't know the difference, and you're just as fast as they are.
Yeah, and because I ran this initially at a competition in Arizona like 2-3 years ago. Nobody even noticed that this was featureless, you know?
Yep.
And then I ran that with multiple classes with law enforcement, teaching and taking the classes with them. They didn't even never notice. So it's all boils down to preference and, of course, training. So there you have it. That's the featureless versus fixed mag, pros and cons, and the nuances of both. After doing my research, becoming a USCCA member was really a no-brainer. USCCA members get life-saving education, expert training, plus self-defense liability insurance. They are hands down the best self-defense membership association out there. Their firearms education and training resources are genuinely life-saving. The USCCA Training Academy is probably my favorite feature of membership. It's an online qualification system that trains and educates you on what you need to know as a responsibly armed American. The USCCA Association was founded for responsibly armed Americans like you prepare for what happens before, during, and after a self-defense incident, and truly has everything you need to gain peace of mind during these turbulent times. Members get life-saving self-defense education, industry-leading training, and self-defense liability insurance. Click the link in the description below to get your free USCCA concealed carry guide and learn more about the USCCA.